It was a peaceful Saturday morning in the quiet suburban neighborhood of Oakwood Pines. The sun shone warmly over well-manicured lawns as residents went about their weekend routines. Some washing cars, others sipping coffee on their porches. It was the kind of neighborhood where everyone knew each other by name, a place of pride and order. Among the residents was Linda Crawford, a middle-aged woman who thrived on maintaining control over the neighborhood's image. Though not officially a part of the homeowners association, Linda often acted as if she were, enforcing her standards with a self-appointed authority. Linda's latest grievance was her new neighbor, Ethan Reeves. Ethan, a man in his late 30s, had recently moved into the neighborhood. A calm and easygoing individual, Ethan took pride in his beliefs, displaying a flag on the back of his truck that read, "Stand Strong." To Linda, the flag represented a disruption to her vision of Oakwood Pines. One sunny morning, she stood at her window, glaring at Ethan's truck. The flag flapped boldly in the breeze, igniting her sense of control. She decided something had to be done about it. Her plan was simple. She would call a towing company to remove Ethan's truck, claiming it violated the non-existent rules of the HOA. What Linda didn't realize was that her actions would set off a chain of events that would spiral far beyond her control, leading to consequences she'd deeply regret. Linda dialed the number of a local towing company, her voice laced with feigned authority. "Hello, this is Linda Crawford, representing the Oakwood Pines Homeowners Association. We have a vehicle parked in violation of community standards. It's displaying an unauthorized flag. I need it removed immediately." The towing company representative, not suspecting Linda's deception, agreed to send a driver. Linda hung up the phone, smugly satisfied with her actions. An hour later, she watched from her window as the tow truck arrived. Chains clinked as the driver hooked Ethan's truck. Linda smirked as the truck was hauled away, convinced she had restored order. Meanwhile, Ethan returned home from running errands to find his truck missing. Confused and alarmed, he parked his car and scanned the area. It didn't take long for him to piece together what had happened. Reviewing his home security footage, he saw the tow truck and the unmistakable silhouette of Linda watching from her window. Ethan decided to confront Linda. Standing at her doorstep, he knocked firmly. Linda opened the door, her expression feigning innocence. "Hi, Ethan," she said with an overly sweet smile. "Is something wrong?" "My truck was towed," Ethan began, his voice calm but direct. "I saw you watching from your window. Do you know anything about it?" Linda's smile faltered. "Oh, I have no idea," she said, her tone laced with false surprise. "Maybe it was parked illegally?" Ethan's eyes narrowed. It wasn't, and the towing company said the request came from someone claiming to represent the HOA. "Care to explain?" Caught off guard, Linda hesitated. I just thought the flag was inappropriate. It's divisive. This is a family neighborhood." Ethan's frustration bubbled to the surface. "You lied about being part of the HOA and had my truck towed over a flag? You crossed a line." "Linda, I'm filing a police report and taking legal action." Linda's face paled as Ethan walked away. For the first time, doubt crept in, but her pride kept her from admitting she might have been wrong. Ethan wasted no time contacting the local police. Officer Harding arrived later that afternoon to take his statement. After viewing the security footage and hearing Ethan's account, the officer assured him that Linda's actions would be thoroughly investigated. Shortly thereafter, Officer Harding knocked on Linda's door. When she answered, her forced politeness barely masked her unease. "Miss Crawford," Officer Harding began, "we've received a report alleging that you impersonated a member of the HOA and provided false information to have a vehicle towed. I'd like to ask you some questions." Linda's face reddened. I was just trying to maintain the peace," she stammered. "That flag, it's not suitable for this neighborhood." Officer Harding's tone remained professional. "Miss Crawford, your actions were unlawful. We'll be conducting an investigation, and you may face charges for impersonation and filing false claims." As the officer left, Linda slumped against her door, her confidence shaken. For the first time, she began to feel genuine regret. Over the next few weeks, the fallout of Linda's actions unfolded. Ethan filed a lawsuit for damages, seeking compensation for the towing fees and scratches left on his truck. With the support of his lawyer and the overwhelming evidence, including Linda's reluctant admission to the police, the court ruled in Ethan's favor. Linda was ordered to pay for the damages and towing costs. News of the incident spread quickly through the neighborhood. Linda, once a figure of authority, found herself ostracized. Her neighbors, who had previously tolerated her meddling, now avoided her altogether. At community gatherings, Linda's absence became the subject of whispers and knowing glances. Ethan, on the other hand, found support among his neighbors. They rallied around him, offering kind words and gestures of solidarity. The incident had not only brought attention to Linda's overreach, but had also strengthened the sense of community in Oakwood Pines. For Linda, the consequences were far-reaching. The financial burden of the court ruling strained her savings, and the social isolation weighed heavily on her. She spent her days avoiding the very neighbors she once tried to control. Morning walks became exercises in avoidance, her head down to escape the judgmental glances of others. One evening, overwhelmed by the silence of her once orderly life, Linda decided to write a letter of apology to Ethan. Sitting at her kitchen table, she poured her thoughts onto the page, admitting her mistakes and expressing genuine regret for her actions. The next day, she delivered the letter to Ethan's mailbox. Ethan, upon reading it, saw the sincerity in Linda's words. Though he didn't immediately forgive her, he appreciated the gesture as a step toward accountability. For Linda, the act of apologizing marked the beginning of a long road to redemption. She knew it would take time to rebuild trust within the community, but she was determined to change. And for Ethan, the experience reinforced the importance of standing up for one's principles while also allowing room for growth and reconciliation. The neighborhood of Oakwood Pines gradually returned to its peaceful rhythm. Though Linda's reputation would never fully recover, her efforts to make amends signaled a new chapter in her life. And for the residents of Oakwood Pines, the incident served as a powerful reminder of the importance of accountability, respect, and the strength of community. In the months following the incident, Linda began volunteering in community projects, attempting to show her neighbors that she was more than the person who had made such a glaring mistake. She started small, helping with neighborhood cleanups, baking treats for local fundraisers, and even joining the community garden initiative. While her initial efforts were met with skepticism, some neighbors started to soften toward her as they saw her genuine attempts to repair the damage. Linda's journey wasn't without setbacks. There were days when she overheard whispers about the flag incident or felt the sting of cold shoulders at the local grocery store. But she reminded herself that redemption wasn't instant. It was earned through consistent effort and humility. Slowly but surely, Linda's actions began to speak louder than her past mistakes. Ethan, meanwhile, had settled into Oakwood Pines with a renewed sense of belonging. The support from his neighbors had reaffirmed his decision to move to the community. He continued to participate in neighborhood events, always with a smile and a willingness to lend a hand. Though he hadn't fully forgiven Linda, he recognized her efforts and decided to give her the space to prove herself. One day, during a neighborhood block party, Linda approached Ethan with a tray of homemade cookies. "Hi, Ethan," she said tentatively. "I just wanted to say thank you for giving me a chance to make things right. I know I have a long way to go, but I'm trying." Ethan took a cookie and nodded. "It's a start, Linda. Actions speak louder than words, and I can see you're putting in the effort." The conversation was brief, but it marked a turning point for both of them. For Linda, it was a small step toward reconciliation. For Ethan, it was a reminder that even those who stumble can find their way back with perseverance and sincerity. As time passed, the flag incident became less of a defining moment for Oakwood Pines and more of a lesson embedded in its history. The neighborhood's residents grew closer, united by the shared understanding that community wasn't about uniformity but about embracing differences and supporting one another through challenges. Linda's transformation didn't go unnoticed. She was eventually invited to join the actual homeowners association, where she used her experience as a cautionary tale to promote fair and inclusive decision-making. Her insights helped shape new policies that prioritize communication and mutual respect over rigid enforcement of unwritten rules. Ethan, too, became a respected voice in the community. His calm demeanor and principled stance made him a natural leader. He organized workshops on conflict resolution and hosted discussions about embracing diversity within the neighborhood. His efforts inspired others to reflect on their own biases and assumptions, fostering a culture of openness and understanding. The Oakwood Pines of today stood as a testament to growth and resilience. The neighborhood had weathered its share of conflicts but emerged stronger, its residents more connected than ever. Linda and Ethan's journey from conflict to coexistence became a story that neighbors shared not as a tale of division, but as an example of the power of accountability, forgiveness, and the unyielding strength of community bonds.